to dim the lights so that makes the screen easier to see. Thank you to everybody for coming out this evening. I am not going to use the microphone because it's not a large crowd, but if you have a problem hearing me, let me know. So tonight we're going to talk about the proposed September 24th, 2019 bond referendum in Oak-Lynn. We have kind of dubbed it the warm, safe, and dry referendum. If you picked up packets from the table as you entered, you probably have two things. The big, thick packet is the formal board agenda, which will happen after the presentation, which you're welcome to stay for. What we're going to talk about for the first few minutes is just this single sheet, front and back. So that's what I would ask you to focus on now. And everything that's on here, you're going to also see on the screen, separated among some slides. So the Oak-Lynn Public School District Warm, Safe, and Dry Bond Referendum is scheduled for September 24th, 2019, which is a Tuesday in September. And our architect of record in Oak-Lynn is Garrison Architects, and they are the ones responsible for producing this presentation. The agenda for the presentation tonight is we're going to take a look at the school district profile, which will give you just some background information on the school. I heard some people talking about it's been a while since they've been in the building and they've been here, so I will bring you up to speed on where the school sits today. Then the Department of Education school facilities funding options, we're going to go over those pretty quickly, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the agenda and the bond referendum schedule. So this is just some background information. The Oakland Public School District, I'm not going to read this, but the Oakland Public School District up until last year was a pre-K through 9 school. It was the only pre-K through 9 school in New Jersey. As of last year, we moved students in grades 6, 7, 8, and 9 over to Collingswood. The Oakland Board approved a tuition agreement, a 5-year tuition agreement with Collingswood that set the rate for those students over 5 years, so it will not go up for 5 years. That is a huge incentive to the taxpayers of Oakland. So if you have budgeted to send, I'm going to use round numbers, 100 students to Collingswood Middle School and High School, and you send 120, you're not paying a dime for the extra 20. All right, so it is a set number over the next 5 years, and we are in the first of those 5 years. So as of last year, this was a pre-K through 9 building, and then moving forward this year, it will be a pre-K through 5 building. It just so happens that this year, for the first time, Oak-Lynn became eligible for what is called preschool expansion funding. The funding, that funding comes from the state. Not one penny of local tax money is used. Not one penny of Oak-Lynn local tax money is used for that. All of that funding comes from the state, and in Oak-Lynn, you will eventually add, when we grow to full capacity, we should add about 75 preschool students to this building. So as the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders were leaving, you were gaining about 75 preschool students on their heels. So that's kind of what the first part of this says. So currently, your students in grades 6 through 12 from Oak-Lynn attend Collingswood Middle School and Collingswood High School, where there is a large range of activities available to them, and the Oakland students are participating fully in all of those activities, from athletics to our co-curricular, our band, strings, choral activities, and our theater program. So the Oakland students are participating kind of at full strength. Over to the right, you'll see that this original building was built in 1926 with a 2-story wing addition back in 1973. So that's kind of just some information about the building itself. That is the school district, the first page of the school district profile. I'm going to walk you now into sort of an overview of the referendum. Just so you know, because I did not mention this presentation either is or will be by tonight available on the website. I think it's on there. But this whole presentation will be on the website. So you can go to the Oakland website and look at anything. If you missed something or you have a question, you can certainly review this presentation again. So we are calling the referendum the Warm, Safe, and Dry referendum. And it essentially has 4 major components to it. There is really nothing fancy. There is nothing that's extravagant. The warm part, this building was built in 1926 with, again, the addition in 1973. The mechanical systems in the building, which is your HVAC systems, have not been upgraded in 30 years. And they've required significant maintenance over the last few years. Because of the age of the system, obviously parts are becoming more and more difficult to obtain. And when we can get parts, they're very expensive, which makes that process of repair very inefficient. This past December, I believe it was, a cold day in December, there was a heating unit that went out over the kindergarten wing, and that unit caused a gas leak in the building. We had to evacuate the building. Repairing that unit took some time as we had to wait for parts to come in. The windows were last replaced in the building in 1996. Many of them today cannot be opened and closed safely, and we cannot get replacement parts for those windows. So that's not even an issue of expense. The replacement parts for the windows are not available. That's the warm part. The safe part. Obviously, anybody with a TV or radio has heard news accounts over the last several years of terrible incidents, violent incidents in our schools. We are working hard to ensure that our students in Oakland are safe every single day. The safe part of this referendum is to take the current front entrance. If you come in the front of the building, up the steps, through those doors, that's the front entrance. And take the current front entrance and build a vestibule there. That means when anyone from the outside comes into the school, they will essentially be stuck in that vestibule. They can't go right, they can't go left, they can't go into the school until they are released into the school. So they can get in out of the cold, they can get in out of the elements, they can't get into the school itself until somebody in the office releases them. If it is a parent who's coming in, or anybody coming in to drop off a lunch money, a musical instrument, anything like that, they're going to be able to do so without actually entering the building itself, the school itself. They'll come into the vestibule, there'll be windows on both sides, they can drop off whatever they need to and head right back out the door. That is a Department of Education encouraged practice, is to really limit the ability for folks to roam around the school. And then the dry piece is that Oakland currently has a rubber roofing system that was last replaced in 1997 and is currently out of warranty. There are 3 layers on the roof right now with insulation in between. Because of leaking, that insulation gets soaked when it rains. And when the insulation in the roof insulation gets soaked, it becomes very heavy up there. We have had incidents where water has leaked into the building, leaked into hallways, leaked into the cafeteria, and onto the stage. So those are the 3 main elements, the 3 kind of areas that we're looking to attack. So essentially, the warm part is going to be your mechanical systems, and the windows. The safe part is the security vestibule, and the dry part is replacing the roof. This is kind of a walk through New Jersey school referendum and school construction history. I'm going to walk you through this. In 2000, the year 2000, skipping the top paragraph, the year 2000, and then again 2008, you will see that about $11–12 billion was allocated by the Department of Education at the state level for school construction. If we are one of the 31 special needs districts in this state, which we are not, then any construction that we did in the state would be 100% covered by state funding. You are not one of the 31 special needs districts in the state. Therefore, your state funding is limited to 40%, but you do get 40% of this project funding. And I'm going to show you those numbers in a second. The state funds projects, school construction projects, through what's called debt service aid, which means the state, every time we make a payment, adds 40% to that payment. So they essentially pay off 40% of your loan or your bond for you. In terms of our annual budgeting, we are limited, that any school district in the state is limited to how much we can raise taxes year over year. And the amount we're limited to, which is 2%, is not enough and will never be enough to replace and repair the systems that we need to replace in this school or any school. It's just not enough money. That leads us to our referendum project. If we were able to repair our systems in the school using annual money, so the annual tax money that you pay, then every dime that the system costs. If the window costs $1,000, we are paying $1,000 for that window. And that's coming out of your local tax money. That's coming out of your tax money. If the project costs $100,000, you are paying $100,000 for it. If you use debt service aid and the project costs $100,000, you are paying $60,000 of that, and the state is picking up the other $40,000. So that is a benefit to going out to a referendum, is that you do get the state to pay for 40% of the cost of the referendum. Is there anything else on here? Several years ago, the state issued what were called ROD grants. ROD stands for Regular Operating District. It's a fancy term, I guess, for basically typical school districts. The state has not issued, the ROD grants were for capital projects like the one we're proposing, but the ROD grants also paid 40%, but they did so, that RIDE grant program expired in 2013. We did take advantage of it while it was available for us, so Oakland took advantage of the RIDE grants, but that money is no longer available. So the only way to get the state, currently, to get the state to pay that 40% is by going through the referendum and using debt servicing. All right, so these are the costs on the different components of the project. So you see the little red dot up there? The exterior renovations, we have a roof replacement, and then exterior window and lintel replacement for all of our windows. That comes to about a little over $2.08 million. So $1.7 million of that is the actual supplies, labor, and then there are soft costs built into that. Those are the exterior renovations to the building. The interior renovations include the new main office security vestibule with interior doors, transaction windows on both sides of the vestibule, and replacement glass. That comes to about $180,000 total. Our building systems are your mechanical systems, so that's your heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and that the HVAC system, and we're going to look at a map in a second where this will be drawn out for you. The HVAC system in the building in total over in this section comes to $1.3 million, $1.36 million. And then the electrical construction will be new electrical panels, fire alarm systems, fire alarm modifications to be able to maintain and handle the additional pull and electric from the upgraded systems. When we upgrade things like an HVAC system, we put in one of the most efficient systems available on the market today that is all controlled digitally. So if this building closes down at 6 o'clock at night after our last students leave, the air, during the winter, the temperature in the building drops. So we don't heat it all night, and then the next morning it comes back on and starts to heat before the kids arrive. So that is an efficiency aspect of putting in. Your current systems are not efficient at all. They're old. So you don't get to take advantage of the efficiencies that are available in today's systems. So here's kind of the same numbers from the last slide, a little bit easier to read. Exterior renovations, cost is a little bit over $2 million. The state share of that's about $832,000. So of that cost, you're picking up about $1.2 million. Interior renovations, $180,000. The state's going to pick up $72,000 of it. You are on the hook for $108,000 of that. Mechanical construction, $1.368 million. You see the state share there, a bit over almost $550,000. And the state is left, or your local share is $820,000. So this is your 40% column, obviously. And then electrical construction, $360,000. The state share is $144,000, and the local share there, $216,000. So of the $3.988 million project, the state will pick up 40%, or $1.595 million. The local share of that is $2.39 million. The average tax impact over the 20 years annually is $80.33 at an average assessed home of $162,441. So if you are somewhere near the average assessed home in Oakland, you can expect your tax impact over the 20 years to average $80.33. All right. This is a picture, kind of a sky view of the building. First, we're going to talk about roof. So over the last 3 or 4 years, we have begun to replace the roof system in the building. The white sections, this area right here is the library, over in that corner. This area is the cafeteria and the stage area, and then the kitchen area off the back here. When we examined the roof over the last, say, 5 years, these were the areas that at that time were most in need. So we have replaced the roofing systems in those 3 areas. That leaves the rest of the building that needs the new roof. So everything in yellow, including this little space back here, this is the area we're proposing to re-roof. We'll now take a look at the HVAC system. So right now, where you see AC, that's where we currently have air conditioning in the building. So this is the gym. This one is the space you're in right now. This is the stage area, so these 2 are air conditioned. This is the nurse's office and a faculty lounge here. That's air conditioned. So these spaces are air conditioned. Nothing else in this building is currently air conditioned. The proposal is this. little bit hard to see, but this is what you're looking at here is the first floor. That's the floor that we're on right now. The proposal will add air conditioning here. These are your kindergarten, as of next year, these are going to be strictly your kindergarten and preschool classrooms, as well as the library. And then if you can see along the front here, the little red spaces here, those are unit ventilators, so those will be used to ventilate and provide HVAC to those classrooms. So the red dots are unit ventilators. The handicap entrance to the school is down here. That will not change. So this is, again, the first floor. We're proposing air conditioning this space over here, and then adding these red dots, these unit ventilators, throughout the first floor. That's the first floor of the building. Now we're going to go up a level. That's the second floor of the building. Anything that is currently boxed in with blue over here, remember that's the last picture. That whole wing is being air conditioned. This is the wing right above it. So we're going to air condition this wing, which are your upper elementary classrooms, and then these spaces in here, again, up on the second floor. So this would all be air conditioned. This area here is kind of the steps right up into the front office. Right now, this is the main office where the dot is, and this is a workroom with a copy machine and mailboxes and those types of things. So main office and workroom. This space in here will be a security vestibule. So when you enter the Oakland school, come up the steps, get in the doors, come up the steps again, you will essentially be in the security vestibule, and if you don't belong in the building, you're not getting out of that. That provides safety to pretty much everyone else in the building. Every other door in this building, every minute of the day is locked. The only way for folks to get in and out without a key or a key fob is through that main entrance. So this is the air-conditioned section of the building. This is our timeline moving ahead. So some of these things you'll see. We have submitted a plan to the Department of Education, waiting for approval, final approval on that plan. LRFP is Department of Education speak for long-range facilities plan. When you're making a change to your building, you'll update that plan with the Department of Education. The Department of Ed issues approval, so the PEC offer and the FEC issues an FEC, those are approvals, and they will finalize the portion of the project that they're going to pay. There is nothing in your project that won't be eligible for 40%. The 40% match. So the board approved the special election at the March 19th board meeting. We are finalizing debt service statements. We're finalizing election information with the county. And if you follow this down, you will see that the special election itself is set for September 24th, 2019. The hours for that are going to be 7 in the morning till 8 at night. And you will vote in your regular voting places where you vote in every election. Do that. So that's it for the presentation. There are essentially 4 elements to the project, and they all kind of fall under that warm, safe, and dry umbrella. So you have roofing system, HVAC, security vestibule, and windows. So it's nothing that is terribly fancy or, unfortunately, terribly exciting, but it's all necessary to keep our kids experiencing the best education they can.